Welcome to Between Builds, the space where we talk about everything that happens in the messy middle, the in-betweens that don't always make it to the highlight reel. I'm Tiffany, and today I'm sitting down with someone I deeply admire, Nicole Casperson. Nicole is a journalist, founder of Fintech Is Femme, author of Fintech Feminists, and one of the sharpest voices covering the intersection of fintech and culture. I've watched Nicole carve her own lane in an industry that doesn't always make room for new voices. She's been through quite a number of her own in-betweens, from newsroom shifts to launching her own platform to writing a book. And I can't wait to unpack some of those moments with her today. Thanks for joining, Nicole.
Oh, Tiffany, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad you made it in.
Yeah.
So, talk to us. Like, how do you normally introduce yourself? Like, it's so weird, like, sitting here with the journalist who's usually asking the questions.
Right, I know.
And so, like, I'm a little intimidated.
The role reversal is intimidating for me as well. I'm not used to answering questions about myself, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, that's good. So we're both nervous.
Exactly. We both role reverse. So
I like this. We can do this.
We got this. By the end of this, we'll be like crying, laughing. Whatever. Who knows what'll happen?
Yeah.
So typically I introduce myself as Nicole Casperson, author, journalist, founder, and CEO of Fintech Is Femme, a media company and community of 50,000 fintech professionals, all dedicated to building a better financial future for the world.
Okay.
Yeah. So I write an industry-leading newsletter, like I said, to 50,000 subscribers. I've been doing that for 4 years. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being one of 50,000. I appreciate it.
Yes.
I need more of you. Anyway, I write an industry-leading newsletter. I host 2 podcasts. One is called Humans of Fintech. That one I've been doing for 4 years. Those interviews from Humans of Fintech largely fueled the content of my book, Fintech Feminists. And then this year, I started a second podcast called Fintech Mavericks.
Because you're not busy.
Correct. Because I wanted more things to add to my plate. Yeah, I needed more. And but I do love podcasting. It's one of my favorite things I do. Yeah. And when, the right partners, I had a good co-host come in, someone I love working with. His name's Drew Glover. He's a investor with Fiat Growth and Fiat Ventures. So big fan of him and his work. It just worked. But yeah, it just worked. So I do all that. I host an event series.
Yeah. I've been to
the leadership summits.
Are amazing.
We do one big one in the spring in New York, one in the fall that we're planning now in October, the SF edition.
Identity. Yes. Yeah.
So,
and they're always sold out.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That is always the goal.
It's like standing room only the last time I got a ticket, which is fun. Like, I love the vibe. And it's like, it's really cool. I love it.
Thank you.
So you like live and breathe in this intersection of not just like finance and technology, which is hard in and of itself, but also like journalism and being a female and ethnicity and things of that nature. Like, can you want to just like name all the in-betweens where you feel like
oh my gosh,
because there's at least half a dozen.
My whole life is being a bridge, right? Like even like the physicality of your logo here, like the bridge, I see it.
I love it. Yeah, thanks for picking up on that.
I got it.
I got you.
That resonates with me a ton because I've spent my whole life being a bridge. I guess we'll start with like my age. I was born in 94, so I'm a young millennial, so kind of in between. Yeah. People have tried to call me Gen Z before. I'm clearly not. It's like, no matter how cool I dress, not a Gen Z.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm like 4 or 5 years off from the cutoff, but young millennial. So there's a bridge there in like my age. Ethnicity-wise, my mother is an immigrant from the Philippines. She immigrated here over 35 years ago. My father is American, European, and so from that perspective, I grew up my whole life being very in between cultures and identities, which has been a huge factor in shaping who I am, what Fintech Is Femme is, everything. In fact, it's like the core bedrock for everything. And for me, it's actually one of my greatest superpowers. So oftentimes people, and we can always talk about it, but oftentimes people are like, oh, like, yeah, of course there's like struggles like anything. But for me, being in between 2 cultures has made me like 10 times more aware of things. Ooh. I have a much greater like sense for what is going on in the world because of these different identities. So huge superpower.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then of course the journalism. So, or my work. So like not quite fitting in with the traditional journalist path and not really having the patience to like wait for someone else to decide that I'm good enough.
Ooh.
And instead saying, you know what, I might as well just go and build this myself instead of like waiting around.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
Yeah.
Not the patience. I know there's so much, but yeah, like what did that teach you?
Well, for that bridge, so like when I was going from traditional reporter, editor in newsrooms to entrepreneur, journalist, like media personality, the first kind of aha moment was I sat back and like asked myself, and I think I was 26 when I started.
Okay.
When I was starting to think about leaving the 9 to 5, right? To build my own company. Mm-hmm. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, how much longer will I wait? Like, do I want to give the rest of my 20s to, you know, whatever older white gentleman has decided when I'm good enough to have my own column or share my opinions with the world? Or like, you know, I was actually, a story I don't talk about often was my job before Fintech Is Femme. I was ghost writing and producing my publisher and CEO's podcast.
Okay.
Called Her Success Matters. Funny enough.
Okay, this is interesting.
Interesting, huh? So I haven't talked about this often actually. So I love it. So I'm sharing a new
fresh
story.
Content.
I know. I didn't even talk about this in my book really, but like
I love it.
I was producing or ghost producing, if you will.
Okay.
I.e., I would interview the guests, and these are huge guests. They were like Melody Hobson, you know, the Sally Krawchecks, like these big names in wealth management. And of course, I eventually had them on my own show, but I digress. I'm interviewing them, pre-interviewing them. I'm prepping the entire script and then just handing it to my CEO for her to read.
Yeah.
And at first, that was very, you know, I'm in my 20s. I'm like thrilled. I'm just like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I'm like working. I've got a female publisher for the first time. Yes. I'm like, we're doing all these amazing things. I'm interviewing these amazing women and we're doing the show and it was so good. But then, you know, when it came down for me to ask for that raise, right? Hey, like I'm doing more. I was hired to be a fintech reporter. Now I'm producing a podcast.
Right.
Whereas like, I would like a raise because of that.
Yes, please.
Please. You know, and then nothing coming of that, like not even like a word or a conversation or anything like that. So
just no acknowledgement of it.
Yeah. Those are the kind of moments that I think any entrepreneur kind of feels if they're like stuck in a 9 to 5 and not getting acknowledged or not getting the pay they deserve. Like clearly I could go just do this myself.
Yeah. So you did.
Yeah. So I did. You combine that with like a pandemic, you know, and enough self-reflecting. You're just like, I have the internet too.
Right. That's a huge bridge, like a huge crossover moment.
It is. That was a big one.
What were some others that come to mind?
Well, so there's my age, just like being excited about being young enough to have that breakthrough moment, because there's women who read my newsletter and follow my work who don't have those breakout moments until they're, you know, in their 50s. Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
But there are like women who will respond to my newsletter and be like, oh my God, Nicole, I'm in my 50s. I've been working at, you know, one wealth management company or one financial services company for the last 20 plus years. And I finally feel ready to like start my own thing. And those are some of my most favorite responses to my newsletter because
never too late.
Yeah, because, and then I had one woman tell me she felt like my newsletter was like the angel on her shoulder telling her to go do it. And that she like feels beautiful. Like I'm a part of it just from like the newsletter.
The encouragement.
So those are like beautiful moments. But I would say that that age element was huge. Kind of the knowing of my worth and learning that journey throughout journalism. But the inflection point I do talk about in my book is actually the opening line, which is when one of my editors looked at me and said, Nicole, I need you to choose between covering fintech or women. You can't do both, which is a direct quote. Sometimes I wonder if he's like seen me post that on the internet and is like, oh my God, was that me? He probably doesn't even remember. But I remember, so that's all that matters.
So what did you do with that?
I turned around and was like, it kind of, you know, those quotes in your life or those moments or those aha moments, whether they're good or bad, that just like stick with you.
Yes.
That was one of those. So I even, so much so I opened my book with it in the introduction.
That's beautiful.
Because it's a great framing for the whole setup.
Right.
Why it just started a spiral of questions in me that like begin the bridge building, right? It's like the bricks that just like continue laying down.
Let's go.
I started spinning. I was like, why why does it matter that she's a woman? Like, why are we caring so much about separating, like, covering women executives in the industry and what they're doing and the entrepreneurs? And why are we separating that from the beat itself, like from fintech as a sector itself?
Yeah.
What is the separation about? Doesn't really make any sense to me.
Right.
Why we don't have like men issues of, I mean, maybe in the fashion world, right? But we're talking about business. Like it doesn't, it's weird. Like we have these like, and because of the way things are set up, do we need like things like power women lists and things like that? Of course, because we need the amplification. But I just found it odd that if a woman's story was out there and I had profiled her and written about her just like I would a man, it was deemed less valuable and decided that it was meant to be saved for the women's section or women's month or women's whatever. And that just seemed odd to me. I was like, I don't know. She's like, statistically, women are building companies that generate 2.5 times more revenue per dollar, right? Invested. They burn 15% less cash. It like, right? They like characteristically survey better in like leadership and all these things. So I don't really know why. I'm confused. So that just bugged me. It bugged me because, you know, what the clicks will get is Goldman Sachs's earnings calls. At some point you get kind of tired. It's like both managers saying, I got tired of making the rich richer. So I like, built a company. On my side, I got tired of telling those stories of like the rich getting richer. So I just like built my own company.
That's amazing. Which is not done easily. Like you say it with such like, so I just went and did it all myself.
That's how they always do it.
I know.
They always say like, I just did it.
But there's an in-between there.
There is.
Like
huge.
It's not easy.
It's not.
It's not high mics and highlight reels. And
no.
Resume, beautifully worded things.
And I don't have I've been asked throughout the last few years of building Fintech Is Femme, like sometimes behind the scenes when someone finally, behind the scenes when somebody finally gives me, you know, has lunch with me or has a meeting or whatever, they'll be like, so what like investors do you have? Or do you have any angels? Do you have like a friends and family fund? Do you have, and I'm like, no, nothing. I have literally none of that. I did not go to some fancy school. I went to a good school, you know?
So we were just talking about like how you got started, the in-between. People just think it magically happened.
People think you have these like magical money, like these magical people in this world that like opened some door and gave some magical opportunity. Yeah, none of that happened. I just like continued to work and build, once again, those bricks so that I can make it to that next bridge. And I'd say one of those big bricks was that inflection point of knowing, okay, so I'm building her success matters and my success doesn't matter because they don't want to pay me for this. I've got editors who are kind of ageist and like telling me I'm just not going to be good enough until I'm older. And you know, like, and I'm seeing the rise of the creator economy in real time. Meanwhile, I'm watching, you know, other journalists go independent and start their own brands and like, you know, the Kara Swishers of the world start their own companies. Big hero of mine. So like, I was like, why not? So you have that moment of like, why not me? Like, why can't I just do that too? Even if I don't have like the money or the things. But for me, I started with just starting to build the concept of Fintech Is Femme. And serendipitously, while I was doing that, I actually got a DM when I used to be on X, Twitter. Not anymore. But I got a DM from someone on X, and it was some guy saying, hey, I'm starting a media company. I would love to get you involved. And I thought he was just going to pitch me another story. So I literally sent him my work email. I hop on a call with him and then I realized, oh, this guy's offering me a job. He was starting a B2B media company where he would hire business creators to write their own newsletters, have their own podcasts and build their own brands. And I was like, holy crap, that's perfect. And he just found me through my reporting job. Like, they were looking for fintech creators.
Wow.
And when you Google that, it's like, that's a pretty niche, small universe. So he must have just ran into my old columns, my old reporting. And he was like, I just liked the way you were doing it. So, anyway, so I say yes. And for the first 2 years of Fintech Is Femme, I actually built it under an agency. Basically selling like the idea of Fintech Is Femme in exchange for salary, right? In exchange.
Food money.
Yeah, for food money.
And rent.
For food and rent. Yeah. And then when that so after 2 years of that, I was able to get my IP back and then start Fintech Is Femme independently. For me, it wasn't even a question. Yeah. I had saved money for that reason. Okay. And I'm happy to be transparent about that. Yeah. Like, I saved $20,000. I was hoping to save more. I didn't know I was going to leave the agency. That like happened kind of all of a sudden. But like I worked my ass off in there. I like built the brand from scratch. Like I did have the resources because I was under an agency. So like for any creators out there like me that want to do this kind of work, there's nothing wrong with starting with an agency. But I do think being an entrepreneur is the best route. Yeah. Depending on what you want to do. Right. I'm trying to build a real legacy and wealth for like my future and my family. So building a company is the answer. But yeah, just like, and then continuously laying down those bricks.
Does that get monotonous? Does that feel monotonous? Like I know,
if you think about it, kind
like
of.
You're just like, I'm laying another brick today. Like I'm doing the next thing. Like,
but nothing about my day-to-day is monotonous, you know? Yeah. So like the most consistent thing in my life is that I write a newsletter that goes out every Tuesday and Thursday. Okay. Other than that, my life is just like
fly by the seat of your pants.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like moving targets on my calendar all the time.
Okay. Yeah. But you have a business partner.
I do.
Who is also
my husband. Yes.
So my husband and I started a school. So I'm really curious, like different types of startups, right? But our coffee time, like we always sit down and have like this cup of coffee in the morning before kids. But like if we were, meaning like before our kids get up. But if we were to kind of like eavesdrop on you and Anton's like conversation, like how do you divide the two, right? Because you're business partners and you're married. And you're building a brand and a legacy together. Like, what is that? Like, do you hop like, do you have logistic calls in the morning? Like,
I wish it was like that straightforward. We've thought about it. We have tried to organize our calendars in a million ways in one to try to make it work and try to divide and conquer. We've ultimately come to learn that the best thing we can do is actually just work together on basically everything. So when we discuss, it is business and life operations. And we actually try to merge the two because at this point, bootstrapping our company, like we are in a lifestyle business, right? Like I started with the $20,000 I saved to start the company, to do the things like get my LLC, get all the SaaS products I need, the services providers, the whatever. And then a month later, we closed our next 20K deal. And then we just kept going. Like we just kept closing deals from there. But because we're in the bootstrap phase, we have to integrate our operations of business into our life so that everything is optimized. So for example, like one of our first hires is someone that is designed to optimize our home, our wellness. So she styles me.
Nice.
So that is like a cognitive load off my plate, right? She knows how important it is for me and my brand to look a certain way everywhere I go.
Like how you show up. Yeah.
How I show up matters. They care a lot. And by they, I refer to the people that read my newsletter and show up to my events and stuff, my audience. They care a lot about that. It's aspirational for me to show up in a certain way with a certain confidence. So how do you fuel that? You have to protect your life. You have to protect your wellness. And that's what her job is. Nice. So, I'm building a podcast studio in my house. She liaisons that, right? Like I need someone to take that on because Anton and I need to focus on on driving revenue, on maintaining our relationships, on our clients, on the business ops.
Right.
So, but to answer your question on our conversations, they're all over the place.
Yeah, that's okay.
Which is okay. And
100% it's okay.
And that's the trick really, is to be okay with that.
Whatever works. And I love the idea of like, you're kind of like outsourcing things that don't need to be your core competency right now. Like you don't have to have that core competency. Someone else can kind of do that on your behalf. And I think that's really smart.
Right.
Like, because we can't be all things to all people and we can't be all things to ourselves. Like we've got to have community and help and support. And
yeah. It takes a village. when last year when I was writing my book, Anton is my partner's name, he really took the heavy load of the house because it got to the point where when my deadline was approaching and I still had so many more things to do and words to write. And I'm like, oh crap, I don't know if I'm going to make this, and release forms to get from all these women, which that was such a fun journey. But he carried that weight of like maintaining the house, even maintaining like our friendships, our like life, like relationships. But now that we're both so all in and our business is growing so fast, there's just no way he can handle that too. So once again, outsource like places that just don't need your focus right 100%. Now, but are necessary for like survival. But the more my life is full and healthy, the better creator and writer and journalist and author I am. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
What you talked about, just like wholeness and yourself, like what's at your core? Like when we think about what you deeply care about, and it doesn't have to be fintech, like you can name other things.
I know I am Mrs. Fintech, but there are some things I do love more than fintech. I think for me, the thing that the bridge really, or to connect the dots is, I grew up never really having role models for myself, never seeing anyone like me. Writing became a very exciting way to see myself in things, or to even just the act of reporting on others who I saw myself in and sharing their stories was very exciting to me. I saw that capability. I was 15 when I read Amy Tan's The Joy Luck Club. And that was really like for me the
formational.
The time I got to watch, like I got to read multiple stories, a whole book worth, and watch a famous movie, right?
Yeah.
Of like Asian immigrant mothers dealing with their relationships with their American born but Asian daughters.
Yeah.
That is like a very close, tight relation. Like that's a deep cut, right? And for me in my life, that made me realize how powerful stories were that moment.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to do that.
Right.
So like that, knowing what you want to do and then kind of like continuing the journey of that, being lucky enough to have that and then wanting to show others that that's possible for you, I think is something that's very deep for me.
Right.
For me, that's what fintech does.
Yeah.
So, but with money.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, you so easily create that stage and that conversation for other people.
Yeah.
Like you're just very
because I didn't like, I grew up well. My parents are amazing, but I wasn't like some luxurious, fancy person. I've seen the way money psychologically does things to people. Myself, I've seen what it does to relationships, what it does to, husband and wives, right? Like one of the hardest relationships, even friends. It's, I've had to like work to identify my own relationships with money in order to be like Mrs. Fintech. But that to me is also what's at my core, is that exciting element of like, wow, there's this great big industry out there that's literally designed to help make everyone on this planet more wealthy, right? And that's designed to open access. That's like that inclusion is embedded into its
goodness.
Its origin and its DNA. Certain actors come in and like skew it this way and that way, and that's just the way of the world. And but that's why I built Fintech Is Femme, to create our own universe where we're telling the story another way. Because if you want to change the story, you have to change the storytellers. And that's the only way.
Yeah.
Like,
well said.
It's the only way we change the narrative. Because the narratives that are fueling us, that is the reality that happens in the world.
Right. That's what people see and what people think. I loved how you shared so many things of like the intersections that you had and the bridges that you had and what they taught you, like what you learned from them. And I love your mindset around it. Like you're just so like encouraging and forward thinking. But I'm also curious, like what did you have to unlearn?
Oh, everything.
I know.
Everything.
But it doesn't have to be bridge related. But just like what are some like life things that you just had to like, I got to unlearn that.
Yep. I would say entrepreneurship is definitely the journey of learning yourself and unlearning, right? So you're born and raised that when you do when you cross X milestone, you get X result, and you know, you get this job, you get this result.
The vending machine approach.
Correct. And like, this is how it goes, right? I go to this school and I get this result and all of that. And then entrepreneurship, you get thrown into that and it's like, all those rules are not real. Like all those rules are crap. They're not real. Like there is no perfect way. There is no perfect morning routine. There's no perfect nighttime routine. There's like none of that. There's only the routine and the process that works for you. So the unlearning of things having to be a certain way, things having to look a certain way, right? Like not being so obsessed with the outcome, but being more obsessed with the process, right? One of my favorite sections of the book, which I like all the sections of my book, is there's a section in there where I like very bluntly asked Sally Krawcheck from LFS a bit about like her own entrepreneurship journey and lessons learned. Right. And so I named the whole section, "You Can't Wait to Have Fun." And, you know, that's her at almost 60, I think at the time, in talking about not waiting to have fun. So even that, right? Like thinking, I have to hit a certain milestone before I celebrate. Right. No. You have to celebrate literally everyone. Like I love that. Anytime anything is like exciting, it has to be celebrated. You have to like,
especially for women, because we're so geared to like doing the next thing, doing the next thing, doing the next thing. And we forget to pause and take a breath and be like, hey, that was really awesome. Like, exactly. I did a great job. Myself too. Affirmation.
And I never think anything's good enough. And I'm always trying to, you know, but learning to not be so perfect, learning to not be such a perfectionist, all of that, right? It's like Reshma Saujani, and I talk about her a bit in the book, but her whole like platform and her, I think her book, right, is really about how we teach girls to be perfect and boys to be brave, right? Yeah. So it's like the act of learning to be brave, the act of learning that when I leap, the net appears.
What does bravery mean to you?
I think just that.
It is.
I think it's taking risks. It's pointing to the star and being like, in Fintech Is Femme, in my small like 6-person team, we call it I call it Babe Ruthing it. Okay. So like when you like, I don't do like a lot of sports things. Yeah, okay. But like when Babe Ruth like points at where the ball's gonna go and he hits it there. Yeah. That kind of thing. Nice. Because when you think about it, every time I have gone out and done an endeavor, like 9 times out of 10, we land on our feet, right? So, you know, my co-host Drew Glover calls it my say to do ratio is very high. I love it.
But what is behind that, you think? Like, it doesn't just magically happen.
The bravery?
Yeah. Well, not just the bravery, but like your say to do ratio or like pointing and saying, I'm going to hit it there.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's just not serendipitous. Like you're doing something. You have some sort of like strategy or patterning or thread or like, what do you think that is?
It's the people. Okay. It's the people that you surround yourself with. Okay. One of the big things I think I had to unlearn as an entrepreneur too, once again, to go back into the like things are done a certain way, but they're really not. I didn't like go to business school or like join any special clubs or anything like that. So I didn't know the secret boy handshakes that were going on behind the scenes and how business deals are done. So if it wasn't for the people in my community, the people who have stepped up and said, you know what, I'm gonna like open that door and show you, Nicole, how the secret handshake deals behind the scenes are getting done. Holy crap, what an unlock. Like, and then so that is what I would attribute that to, is like me doing everything I can to like, my basic business strategy from my seat is like, I have this incredible network. I've interviewed a bunch of people. I start to just open up my own door and say like, want to come more in here? Like I host a lot of events. I have a platform. I have a stage. I've got a podcast. Like, did you want to do something with that? And then seeing who walks in. And then the biggest thing that we all must remember that our people do not like to do is with Fintech Is Femme, my biggest thing is I must account for everyone being paid. I must make sure that whatever it is that we're doing, whatever it is that we're focused on, everyone is getting paid in some capacity. Sure. Right? Whether it's monetized, or like monetization, whether it's social capital, whatever, an exchangement, whatever that is. Everyone must win in this exchange. Otherwise, the outcome and the result will fail. It'll be bad. won't be up to par. Not everyone's going to give their all. Not everything's,
That's amazing advice.
Yeah. So that is the strategy.
Mic drop. I love that.
That is the strategy. It's like, and it's
everybody
like interview people.
Yeah.
Interview people, build your relationships in your community, open the door for them to very easily walk in and start working with you.
Yeah.
Whether it's just shouting out your events, reaching out to them directly. A lot of times it's them coming to me with ideas and then saying, cool, we can do this, but I have to account for everyone being paid.
I love that. That is so good. So when we think about between builds for you, and you've named like such a great job naming like your intersections and how you got to kind of the other side and the messy middle, like what encouragement do you have for our audience who are eavesdropping on our conversations? Like what word of advice or what gift would you give to them in terms of being in between and what that feels like and all the things that come with that?
Oh, man. I mean, the cheesy thing that first came to mind was keep going, because that, for me, it was like not even, stopping has not even been an option. And so, right, like earlier when I was telling the story of building Fintech Is Femme under an agency and then like taking it independent just with like the money I had saved, it wasn't even a second thought that I wouldn't continue to do Fintech Is Femme as its own company without an agency, like on my own operations dime, right? Like so I would say that conviction in yourself is huge. Don't let anyone tell you that just because you're in between things means that you're not as good as anyone else. Like whatever that bridge is, whether it's your identity, your age, your work, right?
Yeah,
people,
your job, your projects,
people
your
feel very
systems,
like whatever that
things.
Is. Are you kidding me? There are, as the great Gloria Steinem says, right? Like there are never binary, only two ways or only one way to do things or a side of the story. There's dozens and dozens and dozens. So that's what I would say. Like there's literally no perfect path that like gets you to where you want to go. But you also need to know where you want to go. So, and just keep, it's like, oh man, I've brought it in the whole episode, but that laying the bricks.
The next brick. I know. I'm always going to think about that when I see you now.
This could be called brick by brick.
Girls laying her next brick. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
So inspiring. Thank you for giving us bricks today that we can lay down on our road and make us walk a little bit smoother. So I appreciate you joining us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Tiffany.
Pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
I love it.